Welcome back to Home Gym Hacks and Reviews and Powertec Levergym Hacks Part 6. Stay tuned. I've said it for almost 3 years now. If I could only have one piece of home gym equipment, it would be the Powertec Levergym. And there is the argument to be made for this being the most versatile piece of strength training equipment on the planet. I don't think there is another piece of gym equipment that would allow me to get 6 hack videos and perform over 100 exercises. And I will admit, I don't perform all of these hacks on a regular basis because I have amassed quite a bit of equipment over the years. However, some of the exercises that I've shown in this series and that I'll show today are staples in my strength training routine. Also, I know there are quite a few people who have the Powertec Levergym as their only piece of home gym equipment, so I hope the videos in this series have given others some exercise ideas, or even better, I hope something I've shown will be a catalyst for somebody to come up with a hack I've never even thought of. At some point over the last 3 years, I've shown many of these hacks in a reel or short, but nothing that I'm showing today has been in one of the long form videos in this series, unless it is something that I've refined, and I also think it's important to have all of these hacks in one easy to find spot. I added a few things to the Levergym, like the foot plates, which increase stability, 9-inch Olympic sleeve adapters from Titan, UHMW tape in a few spots like here where the attachments beat up the frame, here where one of the pins sometimes rests, and on the lever arms where they sometimes rest against the frame. I also added the number stickers from Amazon. If you ever have any trouble connecting and disconnecting the bench, I find it easiest to pull up or push down on the Levergym's connector tube while tightening or loosening the pin. Throughout this video, I'll be using the Gym Pin 20-inch light D handle, my cable extenders, swivels from my Prime set, my Grizzly ankle cuffs and Grizzly ab straps, two 12-inch chains, my hip thrust pad, revolving D handles, daisy chains, carpet sliders, my Power Systems bat bar, and a 41-inch band from Elite FTS. Most of the odds and ends I use can be found in my Amazon affiliate store. I don't think any of these exercises are Powertec approved. I'm just showing hacks that I do and have done. So if you choose to do anything that you see in this video series, do so at your own risk and at the risk of damaging the Levergym. I'm starting with my loading pin belt squat. This is a staple in my present routine. The Levergym provides the perfect place to perform this exercise, and aside from setup and a weight capacity limitation, rep for rep, I'll put this up against any belt squat on the market. I load the cable for added stability. I have the lever arms on setting 7. My loading pin is on a 12-inch platform, which is critical when it comes to liftoff and return. I have the Yes for All 12-inch plyo boxes a little wider than a 35-pound plate apart, and at some point I may reinforce these boxes for additional stability. Before I got the Levergym, I did this DIY belt squat in front of my Smith machine, but this is a better spot because my body can travel between the lever arms handles. A long time ago, I tried doing this without holding on to anything, and I'll never try that again because I nearly ended my lifting career when I fell off the boxes and the loading pin and plates landed on my leg. I find this lift to be therapeutic for my lower back and a great quad builder. In fact, and this is 100% the truth, I feel this more in my quads than belt squats on the Rhino or Squat Max. The seated calf raise is next. I showed this in Levergym Hacks Part 2, but this is one of those exercises I have refined and it is part of my present training routine. I load the cable system for additional stability. The calf block and bench are on the cross plate to add even more stability to the Levergym. The squat bar is attached and must go under the lever arms rather than over. The lever arms are working in unison. I have my main safety pin in setting 12 and an additional safety pin in setting 15. The squat bar has a thick pad, but I also put a hip thrust pad on my thighs for more cushion. Rather than starting from the bottom position, I remove the main safety pin and I can start from a neutral position like a standalone seated calf raise. When the set is over, I simply return the pin, and if I fail, I have the other safety pin to save me. If ever there was any doubt how tough the Levergym is, it can handle 845s, no problem. Due to the lever arms attachment site, this exercise requires more weight than a standalone machine, but it is a rock solid exercise I have been doing since I sold my seated calf raise machine. In Levergym Hacks Part 2, I showed the donkey calf raise. I've incorporated this exercise back into my routine. It provides a great stretch, no spinal loading, and variety in my calf training. I've got my calf block on the cross plate and the Levergym weighed down for added stability. I have an additional safety pin set up if something goes wrong, and the squat bar is under the lever arms rather than over. The hip thrust pad and the Powertec bench handles make this exercise very comfortable. When I connect my daisy chains to the roller pad post and low pulley, it provides an okay leg extension on the cable system. The biggest problem is the daisy chains rub the frame of the bench. If Powertec ever updates their utility bench, it would be cool to see a spot for a cable to travel through the bench and connect to the leg extension attachment. Unfortunately, this setup doesn't work that great for leg curls because the gym pin D handle hits the bench. Luckily, the supine leg curl on the lower pulley with carpet sliders is a decent hamstring exercise. I've got my cable extenders connected to the Grizzly ankle cuffs. Here I'm cheating a little bit again because I'm using the leg extension attachment, but it has a hook which locks in place, and the attachment provides a great place for me to secure my legs. I connect the Grizzly ab straps to my gym pin D handle, and I have an office chair lumbar support cushion to provide a little more extension to the movement. Here I have 70 pounds on the cable system, and that's about all I need for my work sets. Another decent ab and hip flexor exercise is this knee pull-in on carpet sliders while connected to the lower pulley. I have dumbbells in place for a more comfortable wrist position, and my cable extenders connected to my Grizzly ankle cuffs. The daisy chain chest press is an incredibly effective exercise that allows my arms to converge. Back in Levergym Hacks 2, I showed the standing variation, but this one is better because of back support. I slide the bench halfway back, put the lever arms directly on the Levergym's frame, then connect the daisy chains, my swivels, and revolving handles. This feels a little like a press on a functional trainer, so it's not as stable as the lever arms alone, but this hack offers a bit of variety and another chest exercise on the Levergym. If I want cable resistance, I connect the gym pin D handle, my cable extenders, and revolving handles for another chest press variation. This also feels a lot like a functional trainer press, but luckily only one low pulley is needed. For all of these exercises, the perfect setting might be one additional carabiner or one adjustment on the bench away. As I've mentioned before, flies are okay on a single pulley, but resistance drops off as the hands come closer together. Here I'm using the gym pin D handle and cable extenders. In Levergym Hacks 5, I used my harness to connect to the low pulley for weighted lever arm push-ups. It's a good exercise, but in my own training, I'm using the loading pin for resistance. I like this because of its vertical line of drive, and with the height I set the lever arms, I can drop the loading pin down to the ground and go deeper into my push-up without extra resistance on my shoulders. Once again, the gym pin D handle proves to be one of my most versatile attachments for this hybrid upright row lateral raise I came up with. I have my Grizzly ankle cuffs attached to 12-inch chains, and I'm gripping the Angles 90 grips for additional stability. This has become one of my favorite shoulder exercises. I don't do a lot of upright rows, but my favorite variation on the Levergym is to attach the squat bar and step inside the lever arms. This hits hard, and I like the lever arms path better facing out than in. I really like this one-arm lateral raise where I lean against the squat bar so all of my focus and effort can be placed on the delt rather than balance and stability. Having the arm travel behind the back increases the stretch and range of motion for the movement. In Levergym Hacks 5, I showed this exercise, and here's the chest-supported row version for increased stability. The resistance isn't too noticeable at the start of the movement, but as the hands get further away, the resistance increases considerably. Supine face pulls have become somewhat popular again, and they work great on the Levergym. The only downside will be staying planted to the bench as the weight gets heavy, but for high reps, this feels great. In one of my earlier videos in this series, I showed rack chins on the Levergym, but here is a rack chin setup I like even better. This is an exercise Dante Trudell popularized, and it's a great back builder. I could add a dumbbell or bar across my waist for added resistance, or attach bands to the pegs. This seal row is still a work in progress. I really like the unique angle the lever arms provide when pulling from this position, but it requires a bit of setup. I have a bar wedged between the Levergym and bench, and a dumbbell against the bench for added stability, but someone with a 3D printer could probably create a pretty cool connector for even further stability. When performing pullovers on a low pulley, usually the cable will hit you in the head, so pullover variations work better on a high pulley. I've shown a few pullover hacks in this series, and this chest-supported version is another great option. The cuffs remove grip from being a limiting factor. I can't get a huge range of motion here, but the bottom portion of the rep is extremely taxing. The Nautilus 4-way neck machine inspired this exercise. A little weight goes a long way. It works great for flexion and also works great for extension, but I don't like the ear to shoulder movements on the Levergym. The old school Nautilus shrug machine is my inspiration for this exercise. I could see this being beneficial for someone if one of their hands is injured and they can't grip, but I prefer the seated shrug variation. I find this very lower back friendly, and I like how the exercise pulls and stretches my traps. This is one of those exercises where the pin has to rest on the neck of the machine. For triceps, a back-supported pushdown offers a lot of stability and an exercise that really does a good job of isolating the triceps. This tricep hack is okay if the weight isn't too heavy. I like that my arms are isolated, but when I increase the weight, this requires a bit of core strength. Of course, I could add a weighted vest or attach a plate around my waist with a dip belt to help keep me planted. If I want to add band resistance to my dips, I can loop the band in on itself around the bench connector. This makes the top of the dip more difficult where I'm naturally strongest. Standing preachers over the squat bar are decent. Here I'm using a revolving curl bar that is short enough to travel between the lever arms, but I prefer a standing one-arm preacher as this feels more effective and comfortable. This arm elevated bicep curl hangs really well with my Nautilus bicep machine. I have the hip thrust pad on the squat bar to make the exercise more comfortable, and the revolving D handles give this exercise a very natural feel. I hope this video has been a worthy addition to the series. If so, please consider liking the video, leaving a comment, and if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would love to know in the comments section which video in this series is your favorite. Also, I'm a Powertec affiliate, and if any of my Powertec videos have helped you, please consider using my Powertec affiliate link at no additional cost to you. That link can be found in the About section. And remember, if your equipment lacks, I got the hacks. Take care, everyone.